Hi everybody, this is Mary Reed, and I get a lot of questions about how to do meditation, how to do it well, how to do it right, different techniques, etc. Because a lot of people really struggle with just sitting their butt in a chair or how to do what they want to do. And so I have a few tips that I can give to help make a meditation practice easier, but also more enjoyable and something you really want to do and don't feel bad about or guilty about if you don't do it right. The first thing is to approach your idea of meditation differently. So often we come into it with the intention to sit down and quietly conquer our thoughts. But when we switch our intention to considering meditation just as a process of exploring, then everything shifts. When we come into it with an intention to just relax and discover what's here, then we automatically put our body and mind at ease. There's no right or wrong way to explore, and there's nothing specific that we have to find. So when we come into it with an intention to kind of conquer our thoughts, then we're trying to force something against the natural flow, and that limits what can arise naturally. So when we come into it with an intention just to ask simply, what's here to discover within me in this moment, then that puts our body in a state of allowance and just allows everything to arise naturally. The second thing we can do is to help our body be a more efficient vessel for meditation. Our body's a natural part of the meditation process, so the fewer distractions that it has, the better off our meditation is. Everything that we eat and drink becomes part of the natural flow of energy coursing through our body, as does everything we think about what we eat and drink. So when we meditate on an empty stomach, we reduce the interference of things like digestion and changes in body chemistry, but also emotional responses like guilt and shame. And also, meditating on an empty stomach leads to healthier food choices because our body naturally feels calmer and more sated after we've meditated, and so we don't seek those kinds of feelings from external sources like food and drink. The third thing we can do is to find our happy place. Our body and mind allows energy to flow more openly and easily in relaxing environments than it does in places that we generally associate with chaos. Even moving from room to room within our home or our office, our energy constricts or expands depending on what we associate with each of those spaces. So for a structured practice, sitting in spaces that feel welcoming or better yet, joyful, is immensely helpful in fostering relaxation and focus. Being out in nature is ideal because nature is literally the place of no resistance, but second best to that is anywhere that feels really, truly comfortably inviting. The fourth thing we can do is very simply, thank you, thank you, thank you. A habit of gratitude naturally opens constricted pathways in the body and mind, and you can recognize this just by knowing the difference in how you feel when you're rejecting something versus when you're inviting something. If we're not grateful for something that's happening or whatever's in this present moment, you can feel we have a physical and mental rejection of the present moment. But if we're grateful, we have an automated, sort of an open invitation to the present moment. So the more we habituate our way of being to be open to the invitation of the present moment, the more in our meditation we more easily invite awareness of the present moment into that meditative state. The next thing we can do, and this is a biggie, is to realize that we can embrace our thoughts without indulging them. Meditation, a good, joyful, exploring meditation practice, can help us discover not only the magic that lies beyond our thoughts, but also the magic that lies in the thoughts that we can't seem to go beyond. In the spirit of exploration, anything that comes up is simply something for us to marvel at. And being aware of what's within us can be deeply healing when we do so with compassion as we discover what's there. Using the gentle practice of, I see you, thank you, goodbye with our thoughts as they arise allows us to bypass denial or judgment of what we see and lets everything come into simply a space of loving acceptance. The next thing we can do is to use the mundane moments of our day to condition our mind on how to relax. Even longtime meditators can have trouble switching off their thoughts or quieting their thoughts for 20 or 30 minutes in one sitting when those thoughts have had free reign over every other minute of their day. So rather than trying to make our mind quiet in a structured practice once a day, we can condition our mind to realize that it's okay to stop thinking in increments throughout our day. Just a brief moment of intentionally dropping our awareness down into the breath or the heart or even their toes to sense whatever we can feel there tells the mind that it's okay to take a break from thinking. And this also brings us into a practice of being present. So we can do this while we're brushing our teeth, getting dressed, eating, getting up from a chair, riding in a car, walking down a hallway, whatever. So these incremental meditation trains the mind to remember relaxation as a natural way of being. The next thing we can do is to show both ends of our day some love. Usually when we do meditation just once a day, that puts a lot of pressure on us to perform well in that one sitting, and it usually leaves us with one end of our day or the other feeling a little unnourished. So if sitting once a day for a practice is a struggle or doesn't support us for the long haul, then we can just split it up and do 10 or 15 minutes or whatever twice a day. Like with the incremental meditation moments of just dropping down for a moment, this repetition of twice daily sittings helps train the mind to relate to relaxing as a natural way of being. And the more that becomes habit, the more we naturally want longer and more frequent sessions of sitting quietly. And the last thing we can do is to play the field with techniques. Do we like to meditate in a group or alone? Does repeating a mantra or chanting feel helpful or distracting? Do we need flexibility or do we work best with a formal structure? It's really great to sample the wonderful range of methods and teachers to see what feels best for our particular way of being. We can switch things up, we can mix and match, and we can develop our own flow. Keeping things fresh helps keep us engaged. I hope these tips are helpful for you. It's my joy to support everyone's spiritual journey, and if these things are helpful for you, then yay. I use all of these tips in my own meditation practice, in my own meditative way of being, and I have an extraordinarily quiet mind despite my busy schedule of traveling around in different cities and different environments. So I hope they work for you. And if so, feel free to drop me a line or leave a comment here and let me know. May our time together here and as always be of benefit to all beings. Namaste.